Hey guys, Joe here with Outdoor Boating Center. Just wanted to take a minute to talk to you about something that we get a lot of questions about. Water pump impellers. What are they? What do they do? And why do you have to change them? Because you certainly don't have to put a water pump impeller in your car. Right here, I have a water pump off of a Volvo Penta Gen 5 stern drive. And this is the same general type of pump that is used in just about every marine engine, including outboards. They just use a shorter impeller with wider vanes, but the mechanical principles are exactly the same. So here we have an old impeller that was changed out during routine maintenance. This one here had about 50 hours on it and a couple of years of sitting, so it was well overdue. Here's a brand new one, just as it came out of the box. So installed in this pump right here, you can see the impeller. It's one of these, and you can see that it's actually, the impeller itself is larger than the diameter, and it's also ever so slightly offset. You can see the vanes are kind of swished over down here, so the shaft sits a little bit lower than center in this cavity. And the way this operates is as the engine spins, it forces the impeller to rotate inside there. And if you watch carefully right down here, you're gonna see, as I turn this, the space between these grows as I come up and around. And what that does is it sucks water through the intake port right here to fill in the expanding gaps between those impeller blades. It then carries it around the top. You can see as we go around the top, those stay just about the same size up there. The same volume of fluid fills that. And then as we roll over, pay attention down here at this corner, as we come over, you see how it smushes that and there's no longer any space left there? That forces the water out of the discharge side right here. So as we roll this over, we're picking up water here, we're carrying it around the top, and then we're squishing it out the bottom. A lot of people don't realize you really cannot start these things out of the water. You know, I get the, oh, if I only start it for a couple of seconds, it's not gonna overheat the engine. And that is absolutely true. You're not gonna overheat your engine starting it out of the water for a couple of seconds. What you will do is destroy this impeller, and the next time you go to use your boat, it will overheat because it can't effectively pump water. It only takes a couple of seconds, and I mean well under 5 seconds, depending on the engine, to burn this up if it is completely dry and you start the boat out of the water. The reason being is because this thing is spinning usually a pretty high percentage of the actual engine crank RPM. There's a slight reduction on the pulley depending on the engine, but it is going to be spinning at close to, if not exactly at the crank RPM there. And so you take this thing, and there's a significant amount of friction in there when it's dry, and you rotate this around, you force this to rotate around at, you know, let's even say like 1,000 RPM. Even for a couple of seconds, the heat that builds up from the rubber rubbing on the metal right there will quickly burn and melt the rubber. Here we have an example of an old impeller and what it looks like, and this is because it's forced over in that housing there. You can see that this one's taken kind of a set. You can almost even see which part was in the lower part right here where they're squished over just a tiny bit more. And that's the set that it's taken from how it sat in the housing there. And I'll demonstrate real quickly. All right, so now what I've done, I've put the old impeller back in here that was changed out. I just want to show you kind of what happens to these things with age and why we say that it doesn't really matter how many hours you put on that engine. It's just as important to understand how long that impeller has been installed in it. We recommend replacing them every year. Some manufacturers vary on that, but our recommendation is every 1 year, and this is the reason. As you see this one right here, that's got some set, it's been in there for a while. As I rotate this around, it's important that these apexes seal where it touches here to seal that cavity off. Otherwise the water doesn't really circulate, it just washes back around itself. And as I bring this impeller around, you can actually notice that some of these vanes right here, the apex isn't touching, like this one here. As we come around, you'll see some more of these. This one here is really bad. And what that is this part that sat down here, right? Those get really forced over, and with time they just kind of take a set to them. And as they come around, there's now a gap between the apex, and so the water just kind of sits there and circulates back. It doesn't actually give you good effective water flow, and that's why we tell you, you got to replace these things every year. Even if you don't run it at all, it's almost worse for it because it's going to sit there and it's going to get a flat spot, and it's going to take that set and it's going to struggle to pump water.